Ignite to Impact.
You're listening to Ignite to Impact, a podcast that inspires to make positive, meaningful change in lives and help people pursue their passions. My name is Geneva Williams. I'm a leadership strategist, best known as the Vibrant Life Architect, who helps people be all they can be. I'm sitting down with influencers to talk about their process, the lessons they've learned, and how to make an impact. I'm delighted today to have Carmen Thomas in studio with me. You've probably heard about her. She's a leadership coach, consultant, facilitator, speaker, entrepreneur. She's the founder of Transformation Empowerment Solutions, a successful leadership firm that offers custom-made winning programs specializing in life-changing leadership and organizational development. She also founded very recently a nonprofit called Transformational Gems, and we want to hear all about that. I am just so delighted that she's here, and she's doing a lot of things. One of the pieces that she's working on right now is finishing a doctorate in transformational leadership. So someone like that knows all about influence and leadership. So we're gonna have a good time talking about it. How you doing, Carmen?
I am fantastic, Dr. Geneva. I am so excited to be here with you. I'm speechless. I'm amazed. You are amazing. I'm excited to be here to talk about transformation.
Well, thank you so much, Carmen. I'm just delighted. And I have right here a copy of one of your books, Being You for Real, by Carmen Thomas. Ooh, that looks so good. And I love the graphics, because the graphics are women who are all shapes and sizes, who are walking with determination and purpose.
Yes.
How did you come to write this book?
Well, good question. I was actually focusing on, in my master's program, I was doing research on the self-esteem of a woman. And in one of the positions I actually had an opportunity to work with several women who didn't believe that they had what they needed to become who they should be. And one of my positions that I had, as far as I had an opportunity to actually work with some of the clients who come through the state of Michigan's intake office. So I had some research done in there on working with a few of the clients, but then I also had an opportunity to work with several people because I was in the real estate business. I had a real estate company. And the market crashed. And so when the market crashed, I was fortunate to have a bachelor's degree in management and organizational development. So I could actually go do other things. But several of my colleagues, they failed. They failed because they didn't think that the market would ever change or die. It was so great. It didn't look like it was going to happen. And when it happened, there was several women that actually came to me for coaching, and I didn't even know women were watching me like that. And they started coming to me to talk about, how are you staying positive? How are you staying focused? What are you doing to make this happen? And of course, my faith was number one. But two, I believe that it didn't matter what happened, we could succeed. We could overcome anything. It does not matter what challenge that comes and adversity. And I always say, as a Black woman, we were raised when there was always adversity. And my grandmother owned a business in the 60s, and she would always say, it doesn't matter what happened, we can come through anything. And she would tell her clients that all the time. So I could hear her saying that even though she had passed away. So I started researching a master's degree, and I focused on the self-esteem of a woman. And that's what led me to write the book.
Okay. Wow. And so being you, and that's the letter U, I love this, being you for real. What's the one takeaway from this book? I know there's a lot of good stuff in here, a lot of gems, and we're going to talk more about gems. But what's the one thing that we would take away from this book?
Number one is that you need to determine that you were created for something great. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what anybody says about you or to you. You have to write it down and make a decision that you're going to do this. I'm going to accomplish this. Mm-hmm. And it's like talking to yourself every day. It's a self-talk. It's standing in a mirror. I had a granddaughter that was born on 9/11, and I taught her how to stand in the mirror and say, I'm somebody. And as she was doing it, I was doing it. So we were doing it together. She's 17 now, so we're still doing this thing. And she's still in the mirror, as a matter of fact, 17 years later. Mm-hmm. And so my number one thing is I am somebody, and you can't stop me. I can stop me. So if I allow you to stop me, then I can't blame you. Mm-hmm. Nobody stops me unless I allow them to. And I tell everybody that it's your choice. Mm-hmm. It's your choice to be the best you.
Yes, I love it. So, one of my favorite people, Dr. Michelle Leno, she was on, we have a podcast by her. And, I've been blessed, Carmen, to have over 100 conversations with influencers like yourself. And they're all on my Ignite to Impact page. One of the things that she always says is that talking to yourself is one of the best mental health techniques you can do. So I love it. I mean, it really is, particularly. And then if you add to that talk nothing but positiveness, what you can do, what you can be, that, just grows and grows and grows. So, Carmen, tell me, how did a career in real estate lead you to transformational leadership?
Good question. Well, so I'm in real estate in property management first. Okay. And I had an amazing opportunity to sell a 528 unit complex to a professional ball player. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I didn't have a license back in '98, but I saw what I could do. Mm-hmm. I believed in myself, and so I just kind of launched out. And as I did that, I kept doing numerous things that people said you couldn't do. Mm-hmm. I love it when I'm challenged. Mm-hmm. I love it when somebody tells me that you can't do that, or that's not going to happen for you, or that's not going to stop you. And I guess that whole transformation of believing in myself and not allowing you to stop me, even in a project management world where there's all men and I'm the one black woman sitting at the table and they're telling me you can't do this. I believe that I can do it, and I'm not going to allow you to stop me. And I think the whole transformation is applying the new information in my mind, but also not just inside, but I'm also acting it out, and I'm believing that I'm going to do this and I'm going to accomplish this. And it kind of led me to realize that there's so many other women that need so much help. Even when we're successful, we can have all the money in the world, but money is nothing without your mind being right and renewed and applying that great information to be transformal.
Mm-hmm. So where'd you get that, attitude that, I can do anything and, I can sit up here and be the only sister in the room and nothing's going to turn me back. Only me can stop me. Where's that come from?
I don't know. I think it was hanging out with mature women.
Okay.
So I would always hang out with my grandmother in her beauty shop when she would do everybody's hair, and I would sit there and I listened to them talk. And it was great because they would include me in conversations, but then I knew when to speak and I knew when to be quiet. But then when I got a chance to speak, and they would pull it out. Well, girl, what you got? Show them what you got. Let us see what you can do. And so I started talking, and then they would correct me if I said something wrong too. So, they still kept me in my place, and they showed me, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do, but you still should do this. And you need to be bold and confident as you keep going forth in life. And so every day I can remember them saying that to me, like, nobody stops you, girl, but you. Look at what we're doing, and we don't even have anything. And then I think about what they didn't have then in the 60s and what we have now. I'm like, I can do it all.
Yes. As you were telling that, I'm flashing. Oh, my goodness. You took me back to my aunt's beauty shop. And of course, now for me, this was in the 50s, okay? But she owned that beauty shop, and I, of course, I grew up in a small town. And so I could go anywhere, do anything. Everybody knew me. It was a very close-knit kind of town. And most of my days, and certainly every Saturday, was spent in her beauty shop. And you're right, the pearls of wisdom. And as a young girl, seeing what looked like confidence, you could see not only what looked like confidence, but what looked like, hey, we got adversity by the tail, and we're going to do it. I mean, as a young girl, when you look at that, and of course, all the stories and all the ways they'd be talking and gossiping and laughing, and, the TV would be on in the background, all of that. Those memories, it's like being in the beauty shop and just watching women and looking and being able to see what transformation looks like. What a wonderful memory you have, and thanks for bringing that back for me. So now, what memories do you create for the women you work for and with?
Wow. So, I love asking them questions that inspire them to dream. I always say exposure creates desire. And so I ask them certain kind of questions at first, like, so what would you like to have in life? If this was a perfect world, what would you do? And what would you become? And, just kind of take that lid off there.
And what are some of their answers? I mean, give us a peek into one or two things that when you ask women that question, what do they tell you?
They're like, you really want to know? Like you care, right? I'm like, I want to know. And they just get so excited. And I've had a lady tell me, I want to write a book and go on tour all over the world and share my story with other people. I said, so then do it. Well, how do I do it? So how? Yes. Okay. So we talk through the process.
Okay. So you help people with the how.
I love helping people with the how.
That's a great skill, Carmen. Because you got two great skills. One, the courage and the caring to ask people the what their dream is, and get them to tell you. And then the other skill of how you do it, and helping people through that process. So what are some of the things that you help people the how with? Can you give us an example? So like the lady who wants to write a book, or someone else who comes to you and says they want to be a singer, or whatever their dreams are. Do you have is there a basic process or, transformational process or practices or techniques that you use?
There is. So when I speak with them and I get them to actually dream out loud, so they're dreaming out loud, sharing their story, right? Yeah. So they're dreaming out loud and they're talking about it. And so then we start thinking about steps. So I asked them, what steps do you think you can take with what you have right now? And then what do you think you need to get to where you need to go? And so we write it all out. It's kind of like a mapping process. We map out from here to there with the current state. And then we start looking at what do we need to eliminate so you can get to the future state. And the biggest thing that I find is, it's so funny. The biggest thing that I find, it's a mindset. You know, the mindset is, you know, but I don't believe I can. It always goes back to here. And so we talk through the process of why. You know, what's the root cause of what's stopping you from believing that you can't get to there? And once we talk through those steps and I get them to give themselves permission to be the best that you were called to be, but then if you're holding back for your family, what would they be if you let go for them and create all these legacies?
Right. Oh my goodness, yes.
So it just opens up more opportunity for them to dream and then they want to do.
Now, is this what you do? So you got a couple things going. You've got your Transformation Empowerment Solutions, which is a leadership firm. That's a company. And you also have this nonprofit, Transformation Gem. So tell us about all of that.
So the for-profit organization I have as a consultant, I call myself the transformation strategist because I like thinking about how can we strategize to get from here to there. And I just ask questions and then I'm a really good listener. So I ask the right questions and I listen really, really good. And then I take notes and I remind them of what they said so that we can get to where they need to go. So I utilize that in some of my meetings that I've had with some business and corporate clients. I've done board sessions and facilitating organizations to get from this is where we're at, but we need to get to here. I have a really cool project I'm doing in a city right now. It's called Transformation Albion. And I started a project with bringing some different generational groups together who weren't talking. And so we opened it up with getting everybody to talk in a workshop. And once they figured it out, it was an aha moment. They found out that they all want the same thing, but at different times. And so then the conversation begins. And then in the Transformation Gems, that's just a different discussion of getting these women to come into an office that I have, and I call it a She Esteem organization because it's empowering. So it's cute, it's pretty. You come in, you're greeted at the door with welcome gorgeous. On the wall there's all these empowering words to make you feel really good because we like to feel good and we like pretty and we like shiny. So it's pretty and shiny and it's cute and nice, but the front is a pop-up where they can actually transform that into a boutique to sell their books, sell lipstick, sell clothes, sell all kind of items. And then in the inside, once you go inside, there's like a kind of a bigger room with some desk and a table so that they can have individual spaces to do work. Then there's private offices where there's some women who actually have permanent office space in this space and they're working and doing their individual businesses and we collaborate together and I empower them to stay on task with kind of the same things that we just talked about to grow their business. And so it's not an incubator space, it's I call it an accelerator space because I want them to come and grow, not to sit and drink coffee. Because I always interview the ladies and I say, well, if you come in here because you just want to sit around and look cute and drink coffee, this is really not for you. Because we want women who want to come in here and empower community, families, and create legacies. So you can't do that by just sitting all day. You got to do some actionable items.
So this is an actual space. And a facility, and people, women come in and they use it and they grow and transformation. You know, and now I know we're deep into our conversation. But, you know, I want to pause for a moment and really have you help us understand what transformational leadership is. And the reason I ask that is because, as you know, thousands and thousands upon studies and reports and queries into this whole subject of leadership. Stuff has been written about it for centuries. Aristotle and Plato commented on it themselves. We can go on and on. In the motherland, we have such leadership origins. So it's been, leadership has been a subject of discussion forever. And one of the ways that leadership has been viewed is to look at various styles of leadership. Okay, situational leadership, charismatic leadership, and transformational leadership. So how would you define for us what you mean when you say transformational leadership? Because you're getting a doctorate in transformational leadership with a specialization in culture transformation. So you got to give us a sneak peek into what's that mean?
Wow. Well, number one is we always sometimes say that leaders are born. I don't know that I would agree with that. I think even though we may be born in a family of leaders, there's certain information that needs to be taught and it needs to be applied. And we need to utilize that information in our day-to-day life as a leader. A leader doesn't mean that you are the boss of an organization, because you can be on a team, but you can still lead. A leader is that person who's courageous enough to make a decision when everybody else has a different decision. They're okay with sharing right information at the right time. A leader is okay with helping build up others that others may not think is worth valuing. A leader sees value in every person they meet. It's just tapping that potential that's not been identified. It's funny you asked that. Leaders on jobs, a lot of times people are in jobs that manage organizations, but they're not good managers because they're not good leaders. I always say I want to follow a good leader. I don't want to be managed because I know how to take care of myself. I think a baby needs managing, or a kid needs managing, or someone needs managing until they understand how to do what they're called to do. But then once you get the discipline and the knowledge and the examples and the instructions of how to go forth, you don't need anybody to manage you anymore. You just need a leader to keep coming in and empowering you with the information so that you just don't become this leader. You can become that leader, and you can keep growing and getting higher based on the knowledge that you are learning and you're applying. And then a leader is great because they're teachable. So I always want to learn. I'm like, okay, I don't know enough. I need more. So a leader wants to know how to even be better, but a leader surrounds themselves with other people that are good in skills that they don't even have, and they're confident in being with that group because they know that that person can build this serious, sound, amazing team that is so global that they can conquer the world if they put their strengths together. And I think that's what limits our thoughts on sometimes having people around us that are better than us, in a separate skill, which I'm not good at being a secretary. So if I find someone who's so good at this and I'm not, I want them on my team because they're going to catch something that I might miss. So if we share our knowledge and information, we are so strong and so powerful. I would say we're just unstoppable. So great leaders are unstoppable people because they're always willing to examine themselves, make different decisions when it needs to be done. So we go off our lessons learned all the time. What can I do better next time? How can I make this person better? How can I give this information out? And sometimes we give too much out, which because you're probably an amazing transformational leader as well.
Well, I just love hearing your perspective on transformation, because you pick up all the the vision and the helping people be better and all of that. But you also, from what the examples you gave in the stories, you also put it into practice, which I think is, that's what makes it happen. Because as you say, you can, you help people dream out loud, and then you help them with the steps. And through that, that's how you're transforming individuals. Am I hearing that?
Yes.
Yes. That's a beautiful thing. So, transformation gems. Does the GEM stand for anything?
So the GEMs are gifted entrepreneurs with millionaire status.
Ooh.
So I focused on that because I think we don't know who we are.
Okay.
So, and you know how it's a big thing sometimes, the buzzword is, I'm a millionaire, or I'm a millionaire this, or
Right.
pound millionaire.
Right.
But
Or millionaire moves.
Right.
I'm making that kind of millionaire moves.
But are
money
you
moves.
right? But are you really?
Are
you
okay?
Are you really?
Okay.
What are you doing when nobody's looking?
Oh, yes. So now, Transformation Gems, that's the name of your nonprofit.
Yes.
And that's also the name of the space that you were talking about. Is that,
Yes.
do I have that right?
So the space
okay.
is the Transformation Gems Empowerment Center.
Ah, okay. And so that's, tell me the gems again. I got the millionaire. I know what the M is. I got that M.
Okay, you good. So it's gifted entrepreneurs, with millionaire status.
With millionaire status.
And I say gifted because we all are born with a gift.
Okay.
And it's just untapped. Or some of us already know it. We have it. We're doing it. But some of us don't know. And then some of us have lots of gifts. We're just using them all.
Okay. So if you were to dream out loud, what's next for Carmen Thomas?
Well, to take this nationally to different states, to start this conference that's coming in October, but also move it on an annual basis for a big one, but then do smaller workshops and go out in different other states and identify gems and help them to build up and grow their communities and create legacies.
What a beautiful dream. So you mentioned a conference you've got coming up in October. Tell us about that.
So October 25th and 26th, we are having Transform You Gems Uncovered. And as you can imagine, so there will be women that will be sharing their stories to empower and inspire other women to tell their stories or be courageous. Women will leave not with just hearing a story, but they will leave with homework to go back and do something. If you have an idea, let's do what's next. If you have a business and it's doing nothing, let's make it move. If you don't know what to do, let's just find a partner to become accountable with, and let's get some things in place. And we'll have all the tools there. I have an app that'll help you get there, and different things available.
That's phenomenal. That's going to be fabulous. Carmen Thomas, it has been such a pleasure having you here now, and I know you're also right in the midst of finishing your doctorate in transformational leadership. Is that right? You're right there at right there, huh? Yeah, girl, I know how right there is. Believe me, I went in. I share with people who ask me about the process of getting a doctorate. I say, well, I walked in all big and bad to the advisory committee interview and told them, when they first said, well, why do you want to do this? And all those kinds of questions that you get asked, and said, oh yeah, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my coursework, and then I'll do this, and plan to be finished in a year or so. And so one of my advisors said, well, we give you 7 years to complete. And we do that for a reason. So I said, And she said, because life happens. And I said, not to me. I'm going to finish this thing. About year 2, I got it. 7 years later, just made it.
Wow.
Because life happened. So I do understand that. But when you're real close, what does that mean for us?
So what that means is 5 years later.
Okay, right.
I am wrapping up the last of my dissertation, where I'm enhancing just a couple chapters, and then it will go to my technical reader. And once that's finished, I will defend, and I see myself defending, and they're going to say she's completed her doctorate degree.
Yes.
She's there.
Yes.
Congratulations. We're excited. Dr. Carmen Thomas.
All right. I love it. Well, we look forward to that.
Thank you.
Another milestone in a phenomenal career, from, real estate broker to working with the state to forming your own profit-making venture successfully, to now having a nonprofit and bringing women together to help with that transformation. It's all in divine order. And so we wish the best to you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate this.
And we look forward to your conference in October. It's going to be a sellout, awesome event. Yes. We'll dream it out loud.
Dreaming out loud.
So thank you. And wasn't it a delightful conversation with Carmen Thomas? You see, we bring you influencers who inspire. And if you want to hear other stories as well as Carmen Thomas stories, listen at Ignite to Impact. You just go on and put in Ignite to Impact on your computer, on your desktop, on your mobile phone, and it'll take you right to over 100 episodes, conversations with influencers who tell us about, how they make a difference, and share with us the lessons they've learned and give us advice on how to make an impact. I hope you'll go and listen at Ignite to Impact. This is Dr. Geneva. I'll see you soon.
Ignite to Impact.